to the rest of the nation. Deseret News journalists have been recognized with countless national awards in news, commentary, sports, and photography. Now, please welcome the publisher of the Deseret News, Burke Olson.
Governor Cox, First Lady Cox, and honored guests, good evening and welcome to this celebration of education, educators, and those who help them along the way. For more than 60 years, the Deseret News has recognized Utah's most academically talented high school students through the Sterling Scholar Program. And now we're thrilled to join the First Lady, Show Up for Teachers, and our sponsors to honor the teachers who helped shape the Sterling Scholars and every other student in the Beehive State along the way. I'm grateful to be joined tonight by other representatives of the Deseret News, who include Doug Wilkes, our executive editor, Dave Steinbach, our CFO, Trent Ayer, our senior vice president of sales. We're also grateful to have Melanie Jones, editor-in-chief of Utah Business Magazine, with us tonight. I also want to offer my congratulations to the First Lady and to her team for a wonderful and heartwarming Show Up for Teachers event yesterday. I was inspired by what I saw and heard there, and was so proud of what we were doing for teachers in our state. Tonight, of course, is a continuation of that effort. Could I ask all the teachers in the room to stand up for a moment, please? All of the teachers. We congratulate you. We express our collective appreciation for your dedication and teaching in this important vocation. We also recognize and thank our sponsors this evening, whose generous contributions have made tonight a possibility, namely the Robert H. and Catherine B. Garr Foundation, Success in Education, the Clark and Christine Ivory Foundation, the Sorensen Legacy Foundation, Zions Bank, Chevron USA, Dominion Energy, Instructure, the Larry H. and Gail Miller Family Foundation, Western Governors University, WCF Insurance, along with Friends of Show Up and our primary sponsors. Their collective support demonstrates a shared commitment to recognizing the dedication and hard work of Utah's teachers. Will you join me in expressing our thanks to these generous organizations? Let me also express our appreciation to Kim Fisher, this evening's Master of Ceremonies. You'll get to know her better along the way, but we're very grateful, Kim, to you for making this such a great evening for all of us. On a final and personal note, I'm not only a product of Utah teachers like many of you, I'm also the father of 4 children enrolled in schools in Utah. Over the years, I have bumped into some of my teachers and my children's teachers at grocery stores and sporting events, and I've been grateful for the opportunity to personally thank them for the impact that they've had on my life and in the lives of my children. In May, after the First Lady and I recorded a fundraising video to raise money for this very night, I was so inspired by her passion and her dedication to supporting educators that I spent some time reflecting on the teachers who made a difference in my life. And I stayed up late that very night and found the email address for one of my favorite teachers and wrote to him to tell him about the impact that he had in my life. His name was Mr. Carpenter. He still teaches at Mountain View High School, where he teaches U.S. history. I haven't seen him in almost 30 years, but his enthusiasm for history was contagious. He was prepared, personable, and passionate. And I still remember some of his more creative lessons, including the day that we turned our desks on their sides. We reenacted a battle from the Revolutionary War by throwing wadded up paper at our classmates across the room. So I was thrilled when he wrote back to me to let me know that not only did he remember me, but he'd seen some news about me when I received the position of publisher at the Deseret News. It was amazing, and I'm so grateful for that experience, and I thank the First Lady for inspiring me to reach out and express my gratitude for the impact that he made in my life. So, to Mr. Carpenter at Mountain View High School, and to all the Mr. and Ms. Carpenters with us tonight, I add my thanks to you for your dedication, your devotion, patience, and perseverance. As a society, we don't sing your praises loudly enough, or as often as we should. We're trying to do better, and that's why we're all here tonight. We honor you and appreciate you this evening and always. Once again, our heartfelt welcome to each and every one of you. We sincerely hope you enjoy this celebration. Thank you very much.
And that's why he's the publisher of Deseret News. That was fantastic. All right. The Success in Education Foundation is a nonprofit founded by Bob and Kathy Garf in 2004, and it's the focus of the Robert H. and Catherine B. Garf Foundation. The mission is to provide a pathway to college and careers for students they serve. They do this through literacy, technology, and mentoring, while also providing access to scholarships, internships, and careers through their programs Keys to Success, Roads to Success, Women Who Succeed, and Ken Garf Esports. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Kathy Garf, Board Chair of Ken Garf Enterprises, Success in Education, and the Robert H. and Catherine B. Garf Foundation.
Well, I would like to begin by thanking First Lady Cox. Are they here yet? Okay, somewhere. And the Deseret News and Utah Business for creating this wonderful evening, because this is a wonderful initiative. Tonight, it's a celebration for you, paraprofessionals, teachers, coaches, support staff, and administrators statewide. We have the best state for education. If any of you have lived out of state, some of their systems are just in chaos. Ours is not. I think the state board, the state officers, and especially the governor with a vision for education is really the best. And we are very, very grateful to you and for your vision. As I reflect back on my educational experiences, I had many excellent teachers, but I do have to just tell you about two. A lot of you just shudder when you think about teaching junior high. But I had a teacher, a 7th grade English teacher, Alma Wilcox. Alma, what was her maiden name? Moss. Her father was Frank Moss. And all of you are way too young to even know that name, but Frank Moss was an educator, a famous educator in pioneer days. This woman was so strict, but she taught me English. We diagrammed sentences. I knew the parts of speech. I was able to learn languages. I don't speak any languages, but I knew the parts of speech. I could speak English. And I didn't like her when I was in 7th grade, but every year after that, I grew more fond of her and more grateful for her. Then when I went to a university, I thought, I did not appreciate that woman. And I can remember going back to her. She was still teaching 7th grade English and diagramming sentences. I wish we did that today, by the way. But I learned English, and I'm very grateful for her. The other teacher was a university professor, and her name was Aline Russin, and she taught me business skills. But not only business classes, she taught me about being who I am. She taught me about values, and I don't know how she got away with it in a university setting, but I learned to be myself and to stand up for who I was in a variety of diversity, and a lot of diversity in the university. There's even more so in today's world. But I appreciate those teachers because I learned to stand up for who I was, believe in myself, and she gave me confidence to go on. Now I look at some of you teachers, and sometimes you'd never know who you've influenced and who really means a lot to you. But I promise you, you are making a difference. We need to figure out ways to encourage young people who are entering universities today to go into education. And you are the mentors. You are their examples. And I, for one, think that you are the future. You are the reason that people know how to think for themselves, how to grow and develop, because education is the differentiator. And I just want to tell you that I am in absolute awe of the profession of education. I wish that we could have more of you, because you are the standard bearers and you are making a difference in our state. Tonight, I would like all of you to know that Utah teachers are supported and appreciated. We could not be healthy, we could not be a viable state without you. Your tireless dedication, your work ethic, and inspiration means so much to so many. So on behalf of the entire Garf family, we thank you all for what you do and are thrilled that you are being recognized this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy. We are really honored to have you here with us tonight. Abby Palmer Cox became the First Lady of Utah when her husband, Spencer J. Cox, was sworn in as governor on January 4th of 2021. She and Governor Cox, her high school sweetheart, have been married for 26 years and are the proud parents of 4 children. Abby graduated from Utah State University with a degree in special education with a dual emphasis in early childhood and severe disabilities. As Utah's First Lady, Abby hopes to inspire Utahns to break down the barriers that separate us. She is an advocate for getting proximate and connecting through our differences. She uses her platform to champion educator wellness, statewide service, foster care awareness, and expand access to Special Olympics unified sports in schools all across the state. These 4 areas are the pillars to her Show Up initiative. Please join me in welcoming the First Lady of Utah, Abby Cox.
Thank you so much. It is such a delight to be here, and it's a delight to be here with Kathy. She and I have had long conversations about education, and her passion for education and for educators inspires me. I'm so grateful to her and the entire Garf family. They are truly pillars in this state that are making good things happen everywhere they go, and I'm so grateful for her passion for education, because it is making a huge difference in the state. I want to talk to you a little bit, and the teachers and the folks that were at the event yesterday. I apologize if you're hearing this again, but I really want to make sure you understand from my heart how much I care about educators and education in this state. So I talked yesterday about riding horses. Anytime I'm on a horse, it's like the happiest day ever. I absolutely love it. I grew up on a ranch in Mount Pleasant, Utah, where my dad taught me how to ride a horse. And the interesting thing about horses, and the thing that I was researching a little bit on horses and why I'm so addicted, I guess, or passionate about riding horses and being around horses, because I was reading this study that said that horses and humans have this way of connecting. And when you're around a horse for a long time, you actually get on the same heart rhythm. And I thought, I knew that's why I loved horses. I knew that's why I felt such a connection. There's nothing like a girl and her horse. And I was thinking about that as I was riding the horse this week, and thinking about our teachers. My teachers are always on my mind. And I was thinking about how educators, and this idea of emotion transfer, and how if teacher is in the classroom, we all know this instinctively, we really do, that if a teacher in a classroom, but there's actually research showing this now, so when teachers are not okay, they are transferring those negative emotions in their classroom unwittingly. And it becomes this cyclical thing that teachers are trying to teach, they're trying to do their best, but if they're not supported, if they're having stress, if they're having anxiety, if they're having a bad day, if they're having a bad week, if they're in an environment that is not conducive to their mental health, that's going to transfer to their students. That's going to transfer to our children. And we need to make sure that teachers are in the best possible place they can be. And so, as we were trying to figure out, 2 years ago, what we wanted to do, my team and I were trying to figure out, I knew I wanted to do something in the education space. I'm so passionate about it. My mom was an educator. My grandmother was an educator. Many educators in my family. It's part of who we are. It's one of my very first memories ever as a person was walking in to my grandma's classroom, her 3rd grade classroom in Layton, Utah. And that's one of my first memories, my core memories, is being in that classroom. I have many memories of my mom going back. It's funny, she was teaching in Davis County just after they got married. My mom and dad got married, and she was teaching. She got pregnant with her first child, my oldest brother, and they promptly fired her. Because that's what you did in the 1970s, apparently. And then, she had the baby, and then she went back to work, and a little while later, she gets pregnant again, and they fire her again. So it's crazy. We've come a long ways. We still have a long way to go, but we've come a long ways. But she stayed home, and then she raised us, had 8 more kids. There's 10 of us, and by the time my baby sister went back, started school, my mom went back to get her license renewed. And then she started teaching again. And she started teaching in my middle school, which wasn't awesome, turns out. But so we struggled a little bit, my mom and I, both of us trying to figure out middle school together, her in her role and mine in mine. And so it was a really incredible experience, but I watched her dedication to her students. And several of them were my little sisters. And I watched the struggle and the hardships that she endured as she was trying to figure out how to be the best she could be for those students and the best ways to teach them and to help them to learn. What's interesting now is that the role of our educators is changing. Just like the role in every one of your businesses, your role in your area is changing. Everything's changing with technology. And teaching is no different. But it doesn't make them less important, it makes them more important. We need our teachers. Yes, we have technology. Yes, we have Zoom. Yes, we have the internet that has all the information. So the role of a teacher is changing. The role of a teacher is no longer putting information in your head and then getting that information out and putting it in your child's head, your student's head. It's changing. And what's changing is that our teachers have to be the ones that are teaching our children how to be human, how to interact, how to be in this society. It's incredible the way that they need to guide and they need to unlock. As we see AI, as we see all these things taking over the technology in our world, our students, their superpower is going to be their creativity, is going to be their humanness. And that's what our teachers are doing. They're inspiring the creativity. They're teaching kids how to learn, to lead, to work together, to collaborate, and to listen. And heaven knows we need more listening. So we've got teachers here, but how do you as business leaders, I want to talk to you, how do you make a difference in education? You've seen some of the people that are making a difference. Kathy Garf is making a difference. Her organization, her foundation is making a difference. How do you make a difference? Obviously, you're here, so you're asking yourself the same question, I hope. Let me just help you find a few ways. One of them is to continue to support Show Up for Teachers Conference. We have had a phenomenal response from our business community. We had over 125 businesses in our vendor hall yesterday supporting our teachers, not hawking their wares, but giving away things to our teachers and supporting them. And it was phenomenal. Our teachers left with bags. Some of them, I said, you may need a suitcase to take away all the things the businesses were giving and supporting with. So I applaud you. I applaud you for what you're doing to make sure that teachers are getting what they need and feeling love, feeling respect, feeling like they matter, because they do. The other thing that you can do is to offer some of our businesses, in fact, our business, the WCF, our Workers' Compensation Fund folks, were there, and they sponsored a breakfast for our business leaders yesterday, and our community leaders, and our legislative leaders. They told us how much they do to give away volunteer hours. They give each one of their employees so many volunteer hours, paid hours, that they get to go and volunteer. That's a huge way that we can support our educators. I'm telling you, I remember walking into one of my and I shared this yesterday, walking into a parent-teacher conference. And I remember, I have a kid that all my boys are pretty scattered, and there's craziness, and they do okay in school, but there's just so much disorganization. And I remember asking the teacher, she's getting frustrated with him because he wasn't turning things in because they were shoved in his desk somewhere. And I sat down with her and I said, what can I do to help you at home to make sure he's doing what he needs to here? And honestly, I just saw walls come down. For the first time, I think, all day, maybe all year, a parent asked, how can I help you? And it was powerful. And it made me think, I've got to do this more. So that's one thing you can do. You can go in and help a teacher and say, what is it you need? How can I help you? What's the best thing that I can do to make your job easier today? That's a big one. Adopt a school. A lot of our businesses have the opportunity to adopt a school. There are rural schools where teachers are struggling because there is not the support that they need. So you can adopt a school. You can honestly just ask a teacher what he or she needs. I know it's a novel idea, but ask. One of the other things I just learned today of a program from AmeriCorps and United Way, both have programs that have mentoring opportunities and tutoring opportunities. And a lot of them, I know we're all busy, I know it's hard, I know we have other ways we're volunteering, other ways we're giving back, but it's literally, you can do a tutoring session, 45 minutes on a Zoom call. And it's amazing how much progress they have seen students getting up to their benchmarks because of that mentoring. So that's a great way, pretty low stakes way to get involved. One other thing I want to talk about is how do we support teachers? The best way we can do it is to support and vote for candidates in Utah who support public education. And not only candidates are running for office, but school board members that are running for those positions. We need to support our state and local school boards. We need to make sure that they're filled. Those boards are filled with people that understand what it's like to be in a classroom, that understand what it means to move education forward in this state, and who support our educators. We need to be louder. As a community, we need to be louder than the negative voices. We need to be that positive voice that teachers hear. What they heard yesterday is that we love you, we support you, we are here for you. But they heard that for one day. We have got to make sure they're hearing that every day, every day. And I'm going to tell you, it takes an entire community of parents, administrators, local and state government officials, as well as businesses and philanthropic communities to create the positive, supportive, compassionate environment that educators need to do their job they are brilliantly trained to do. So my pledge to you and my pledge to my friends that are in the education space, my teachers, is that we will ensure that they have the best environment to create the future success of our state through our children. And we will be there so that our children can be powerful, confident, brilliant, and the compassionate leaders that we need in this future state. And I pledge to you that as long as I'm in this position, I will fight to make that happen, and I will fight with all of you together to create a positive change for our educators, to lift them up, to support them, and to make sure that they are the honored citizens of our state that they need to be. Thank you. Before I end, I forgot a few thank yous. I do want to thank the Deseret News. I want to thank Sally Steed and Lynette Cloward for making this happen. We are sisters in this work. We are kindred spirits. And I also want to thank the Clark and Christine Ivory Foundation for making the conference happen yesterday. We couldn't do it without our sponsors, and they were our pillars. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Abby. We certainly can feel her passion, right? And the love that she has for the teachers of Utah. So, Abby, thank you so much for setting an example for everyone all across the state. Can we give her one more hand? That was really passionate. All right, we'd now like to move on to the awards portion of tonight's event. We had the opportunity to get to know these 22 honorees during our photo and video shoots, and man, are they special. We are so excited for all of you to get to know them now as well. Presenting the awards this evening are Burke Olson, publisher of the Deseret News, and Melanie Jones, editor-in-chief of Utah Business. In addition to tonight's celebration and recognition, honorees will be featured in the August issue of Utah Business Magazine. Now, please turn your attention to the video screens to learn more about our administration honorees.
The pivotal moment that led me to education was the realization that there were not a whole lot of people in the industry like me. I'm an immigrant to the United States, and I had difficulty learning how to read and how to write since I was young. I didn't learn how to read until I was about 11 years old. And through the support of my teacher and through the support of the education system, I realized that they had put in a lot of effort into me, which meant that I needed to give back as well. So I became a teacher. If I could change one thing to improve the Utah education system, it would be helping everybody understand the importance of diversity. Helping them understand not just racial diversity, but the importance of different perspectives. When we work together and have people come from different parts of the world, different parts of the country, and share those perspectives, those experiences, they bring in systems, they bring in ideas that maybe we had not thought of before. And that will support not just our education profession, but also our students.
Please join me in congratulating Mountain View High School's Assistant Principal, Ingrid Adromidas.
Think about a pivotal moment in my educational process and what led me here. I have to go back to my sophomore year in college and my mother being diagnosed with cancer and having to consider my place in the world. I was a long-term sub for her, while she was going through chemotherapy and while she was going through her surgery. It was an inspiration. It was a moment for me when I saw the real value of service to others, because my mother would go to chemotherapy on a Thursday and be grading papers on a Friday. The commitment she showed inspired me, but it wasn't just her process. It was watching the students' reaction and watching the students see the true and authentic care and love that she expressed for them through her service. And I feel honored and privileged to be able to say that it's my mom that inspired me to be in education. People are longing to be whole in education. They are longing to be their entire selves and to not have to leave anything at the door. And so because we are a faith-based school, we welcome all faiths, we welcome all peoples, and we say to you, come as you are. Come as a human, come as imperfect as you can be. And people are looking for that.
Welcome to the stage, the principal of St. Olaf Catholic School, Simon McFall.
I had wanted to be a lawyer. I heard that getting an English degree was like a great choice for pre-law. And as I was getting ready to finish, I looked at going to law school for even longer, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And so I did one of the high school guidance counselor things, like what would you do if you didn't have to worry about money? And I was like, well, I love sports and I love reading and writing books. I thought, like, what career would do that for me? It was just like was an epiphany moment where I was like, I should be a high school English teacher. I can coach sports. I could talk about reading and writing all day, every day. It was like a hand in a glove. Like, it wasn't just that it fit these things that I wanted, but like the pedagogy that went into teaching were things that, I don't want to say it came naturally to me because I worked really hard at it, but it was something that I wanted to work really hard at. That was when I kind of knew that, like, oh, this is my niche. This is where I belong. One of my mantras is to focus on the process, and the outcomes will take care of themselves. As long as we have a general understanding of the best philosophies, the techniques can adjust very quickly. If we get really tied and married to specific techniques, it's hard to change philosophy. Education's a journey and not a destination. We're never going to be done. We're not going to arrive at the finish line. We're going to get better, and then we're going to learn that we needed to do even better, and then we'll figure out how to do that.
We're happy to introduce Ryan Rarick, education teacher from the Washington County School District.
I have done things from being in the classroom as a first and third grade teacher to being a state trainer to an educational technology specialist where I'm training teachers how to use technology in the classroom. All of that fits together by allowing us to train teachers to give better lessons, to give more dynamic lessons, to allow the students to learn their way, at their speed, so that they can prosper and progress and become the person who they are. I want the students to believe in themselves. If I was a student, I would want them to say this: I know that I can be successful because I learned the things that I wanted to learn. I developed my desires, my curiosities, my skills to collaborate with others so that I can be a good citizen and a good business owner or an employee or entrepreneur or whatever their heart desires, but they come out feeling like they were successful and they believe in themselves.
A round of applause for Jordan School District Digital Learning Specialist, Ross Rogers.
My undergrad was in health and exercise science, and so I was teaching a lot to adults. But at the time when I graduated, there was nothing really available. So I taught in South Korea for 2 years, and I love teaching children. And when I was out there, I learned that the structure there was quite different. If you did not understand the content, it was kind of like, too bad for you. If you had any disability, it was like, too bad for you. And if you didn't learn the way the teacher wanted you to learn, you kind of were just kind of like, well, too bad for you. And that to me just kind of hit a chord with me because I struggled when I was learning. I had a different learning style, and I really wanted to support those students that had different learning styles and to say, hey, how do you learn? What can we do to support you in your learning? What is your voice? How can you show your mastery in that content? And I was like, okay, I'm switching majors now. I feel like good education is where we really highlight the student. So a lot of focus on student agency and them picking their own goals and reflecting on it. And then them coming up with ways to show how they understand and how they learn. In addition to that is really bringing in that community too. Really highlighting different students' traditions, their culture, and making it proud so everyone feels included.
Congratulations to Kayla Towner, Senior Technology Trainer with Utah Education Network.
When I was young, I was studying piano with a professor at The Ohio State University. And when he was younger, at age 13, his professor at that time asked him to start teaching. And from that moment on, any of his students who had even a modicum of talent would be teaching under his direct supervision and other faculty at Ohio State. I've never forgotten that, and also what it was like to be told, guess what, you're starting to teach next week. But he was there to help me through every moment of it and was a superb role model, which goes back to the idea that all of us can be role models for people who we want to see succeed. So that was my entry into education at age 13, and I've been in education for the last 59 years and have absolutely loved it. I think one of the things I'm most proud of in my career is the way that the teams that I've worked with have implemented what we call the Lifelong Colleague Initiative. And what that means is rather than just having a statement about how we should be, we actually make it real each and every moment by behaving our way into 3 commitments. Being lifelong colleagues who abide by a strong honor code and help each other become the best they can be. I've seen the power of this work in our dental school, and it's absolutely incredible, and I'm proud of everyone that's been involved with it.
Welcome to the stage, the first of our higher education honorees, Dr. William Harmon, Professor and Associate Dean of the College of Dental Medicine at Roseman University.
To get kids really excited about reading and writing, it's really important to give them voice and choice. So when they get to have some agency over what they're reading or writing, that changes their motivation entirely. Even if we're all reading or writing about, say, a particular topic, if they get to have some choice in how they want to present those ideas. We're all studying insects, but they want to do praying mantises, but somebody else wants to do bees. Then they get to learn about something that makes them excited. So that's my biggest tip, is to use their natural instincts for wanting to learn and being excited to learn and capitalize on that. My involvement in Utah's education system has taught me that the teachers in Utah are incredibly dedicated to the children of Utah. I saw that as a teacher when I was teaching, and I see that now in my role at Utah State University. We prepare elementary teachers, early childhood teachers, secondary teachers. We have the most amazing people who go into education in Utah.
A big round of applause for the Associate Dean for Accreditation and Undergrad Studies at Utah State University, Sylvia Reed.
A pivotal moment that led me into education was when my guidance counselor in high school asked me to help one of my peers during some study halls. He needed significant help with social skills and academics, and I found that not only was I good at helping him, but I just genuinely loved it. And that was the springboard that got me into education. I've had many different opportunities given to me to get involved in helping individuals with disabilities, mild, moderate to significant disabilities. And as I've worked with those individuals from toddler to adult, it has been really exciting to take what I've learned in those opportunities with others and then to help my students at BYU know how to go and implement all of those good teaching practices to really reach everybody that needs the help. I have a mentor, Katie Steed, who has always said, good teaching is good teaching. I see future educators focusing back onto those basics where if you're doing good teaching practices, you're going to be able to reach all students of all abilities so that way they can reach their goals.
Please join him in congratulating and welcoming to the stage Brigham Young University's Mary Robles. I may have just missed my cue there, folks. All right, several businesses across the state make a diligent effort to give back to their local educators. Please turn to the video screens to learn more about 4 of these businesses.
Instructure got involved with the Show Up for Teachers initiative because Instructure employs a lot of former teachers. And because of that, and being in the Utah community, this space is something that made sense for us to show up in and to really support those education leaders for who we serve in our own backyard. Show Up for Teachers is making a difference, and I've seen it, this being the second year, really letting teachers know that they are valued, they're appreciated. It's a space that, and the conference last year was pretty incredible to see how Abby and the community came together to really donate, support, and provide for the first time a space during the summer that teachers can feel supported, acknowledged, and appreciated in kind of a different way. Educators work incredibly hard every day, and there's a lot of focus on student mental health right now, which is incredibly important. But shifting the lens to educators is something that I will always stand behind, because when we fill teachers' buckets, they have the opportunity to, in turn, fill their students' buckets and show up for students every day.
Join me in welcoming Joanna Fankhauser, Instructure's Senior Vice President of Business Intelligence and Operations.
Ivory Homes doesn't just build homes, we build communities, and obviously schools are the heart of any community. And so Ivory Homes feels passionately about supporting schools and supporting teachers. We definitely plan for schools when we do our master plan communities. And then with teachers specifically, we have a workforce housing priority program where teachers can have access and priority to our most affordable product so that they can live in those communities where they teach, and they can get those critical price points as well as get some additional benefits like landscaping, fridge, blinds, just anything to help those teachers find a home. There's been one program that we've done that I think has been really successful, and that's Ivory basically adopted a Title I school who really needed volunteers, especially people to read with children. And that's something that anybody can do. You don't need special training. And we put that out to our workforce and said, this is something that we want you to do. We want you to go regularly and we will pay you for that time. And so it really frees up people to do something that they maybe would want to do anyway, but can't find the time in their schedule. By giving people permission to serve in that way, I think businesses can make a big impact.
A big round of applause for Ivory Homes and their representative, Annie Wilson.
There's a couple of ways that Ken Garff supports local education. I'd say the first way is at Ken Garff Automotive, we have our We're Here For You initiative where we're out giving back to the community, and we do different things for different groups that are in need. And one thing that we do is we go into the schools and we provide supplies, we provide assistance, we provide a lot of help through our We're Here For You program. We also have at Ken Garff what's called our Success in Education Foundation. And this is big in that we've got several initiatives that are geared towards the school. Our Roads to Success, which is a reading program for some of the elementary grades, and then our Keys to Success, which is another program kind of motivating, incentivizing students to excel in their studies in high school and whatnot. And then we have our Ken Garff esports program. So local education, I mean, that's where our kids are. That's where the future is. I don't think there's a better place for us to put our time, to put our dollars than with our youth, with our future. And there's not a greater cause, I think, than finding a way to give back to the youth and those that are up and coming.
Joining us today is Brett Hopkins, CEO of Ken Garff Automotive. Congratulations.
hope of the Utah Teacher Fellows is that we can retain our best teachers. Too often teachers are feeling burnt out or frustrated, and so through this experience they're able to connect with other passionate educators, see new pathways within their careers so that they're excited about the profession. So we really are trying to retain the best, and we also hope to recruit the best individuals into the teaching profession by showing them how many really amazing opportunities there are within education and ways that they can not only influence their classroom of students, but that they can really be a positive impact on the entire community. So we hope to retain and recruit the best. And we also hope to give teachers just new outlets and ways that they can elevate themselves, give them new skills, give them new experiences, give them opportunities to be published, to speak on behalf of the profession. And so those are the things that we hope to provide for teachers. The suggestion I would have for improving Utah's education system is just to trust the experts, and the experts are teachers. And so whenever possible, have teachers be involved in decision making, have teachers be on the committees, have teachers being the voice of the profession. And so that is my big suggestion, is just rely on our experts in education, and the experts in education are classroom teachers.
And as our nonprofit honoree, we would like to welcome Hope Street Group Utah Teacher Fellows Director of Education Programs, Tabitha Pacheco. All right, thanks to all of you. We would now like to transition into our Teachers of the Year honorees. Now, in addition to the teachers receiving recognition tonight, I Care for Kids has graciously donated gift certificates to pamper themselves at the Grand America Spa. So enjoy your spa day, teachers. Please turn your attention to the video screens.
For me, the reason I decided to become a teacher was my second grade teacher, Mrs. Boysley. She was someone who gave me a really good foundation academically, but she also was someone who made me feel really seen and cared for. It made a huge impact in my life, and that's what I want for my students as well. I chose to work with students at a school it's a highly impacted school. There's a lot of poverty, there's homelessness, there's students who are coming as newcomers to the country, refugees. And the reason I chose to work at a school like that is because I felt like that's where I could make the most difference. And it is so rewarding every day. So when my students leave my classroom, what I'm hoping for them is not just the academics. I do want them to communicate well and to feel confident with math. So I do want that for them, but I just want them to believe in themselves the most, because when you believe in yourself, you can do pretty much anything. I want them to walk away feeling like they knew that, at least for the 9 months that they were in my class, that somebody really cared about them, knew their name, was happy to see them every day. And that's just really important to me, because not all kids have that.
Our first honoree, Jeanette from Salt Lake City School District, could not be here today, but joining us in welcoming Kalina Potts to accept the award on her behalf.
When I was in elementary school, I knew I kind of always wanted to be a teacher, and I didn't know what type of teacher I wanted to be. And I had a 5th grade teacher who also ended up being my 6th grade teacher. Her name was Miss Greaves. And just the way that she taught and the way that she cared about education really helped me decide to want to be into education and go into education. I always thought I wanted to be a history teacher, realized later that I wanted to be a business and marketing teacher, and so that's what I ended up doing. If I could change one thing to improve Utah's education system is just getting out the knowledge to teachers, to parents, and to students that they can individualize what they want to do. When I was in high school here in Utah, I didn't realize how many different variety of classes that there were out there. Career and technical education classes, you can be in automotive, welding, business, marketing, foods, so many different types. And so if I could change anything, it's just to expand that knowledge and let everyone else know about those things. In my classes, I teach classes like entrepreneurship and event planning and hospitality and tourism, and I want them to come into my class and say, okay, I understand the basics of Mr. Reese's class, but now how can I apply this to my own life? Whether they decide to go into a profession that pertains to my class, that doesn't matter, but I want them to realize that they can really learn from it and apply it into their own lives.
A warm welcome to Nathaniel Reese, business educator from Alpine School District.
The value that comes with teaching trades to students these days, man, there's a broken infrastructure in our country, and we need people to fill those jobs that can rebuild it. All the trades are lacking employees and workers, and I feel a bit of an obligation, having come from the welding industry, to help fill it if I can, to teach kids those soft skills and of course the necessary skills to complete the task and learn those jobs that we can continue to be the great country that we are. I want them to be successful at welding. That's what I teach. I need them to learn what I'm teaching them and what we're doing, but beyond that, I want them to be successful in all areas of their lives. To know that they can do hard things, that they can overcome anxieties through confidence, that the things that they don't know and the things that they can't do are not life-stopping events. They can learn those things, and they can do those things, and they can be successful, and they can be strong.
Congratulations and welcome to Devin Rush, being honored for his time at Roy High School.
When we say that we want equity and we want to provide access, I think we have to really mean it. And it takes some work from people who have easier access to open it up for others. We are the richest nation in the world. Utah is known for its financial success, and yet we have one of the poorest counties where I live in the entire nation. I serve the Navajo Nation. 35% of the people are living in poverty. I know that education is the key, but we shouldn't have to work as hard as we work to try and get even close to the same access that others have. That is really the voice I hope to have, and that people will listen and think about, how do we really take care of our own backyard? I live so far away that my neighborhood is a big place. You know, this is my neighborhood. And that's the idea, is that this is all of your neighborhood, and are we taking care of our neighbors?
Really amazing point there. Please give a warm welcome to Georgiana Simpson of White Horse High School.
I started my first year at West High and noticed there was a need for engineering education. Having a mechanical engineering background, I thought that I could fit really well and create a program. First Robotics was something that students and parents approached me about starting, so I was really working hard to get that program incorporated. So we've really developed the engineering program over the years there so that it gives students opportunities not just to do robotics, but other types of engineering. We have First Robotics competition team, which is the highest threshold of First Robotics that you can have. And we are a perennial world championship team, which means we travel a lot and compete in different events and often go to world championships. First Robotics is a lot like running a business. There's a lot of business management that goes into it. We fundraise approximately $30,000 to $50,000 a year for the program, so we are constantly going out and finding sponsors. So it's a lot of fun, but also a lot of work and a lot of problem solving. And I think that the students get involved in a community of problem solving, and it's real challenging yet fun.
We would now like to present the Most Impactful Teacher Award. Please join me in a round of applause for West High School's Enrique Arce Lareta.
I grew up really poor. I've moved 41 times in my life because we moved around a lot, not having a place to live and moving in with family and out with family and things. I had an aunt that was a teacher, and they were the wealthiest family I knew. So I thought teaching was the way to money when I was a little kid. They were also the most stable, normal people. And so I was like, that's the life I want. Paycheck every month, know what I'm gonna do every day. So that's what drew me to it. And then when I was a senior in high school, I took psychology from a guy named Chaz Adams. It just lit a fire under me and what I wanted to do, what I wanted to study. I wanted to understand people and why they did what they did. Yearbook day, I went in and had him sign my yearbook. And as I was walking out the door, I'm like, Chaz, I think I want to take your job someday. And he looked at me and went, man, I'm old. You better hurry because I'm out of here. And I actually teach in that classroom now. I get inspired by my students. They're way smarter than me. They're way more driven than me. I'm along with them for the ride. I'm just providing an opportunity, a place for them to learn and for them to get out of education what they want to get out of education. And it's inspiring to watch them.
For the Outstanding Achievement Award, we'd like to recognize from Skyline High School, Sydney Lott.
I was always that inquisitive child that loved to learn, and I was blessed with wonderful teachers who understood that and saw that as a young child. And I thought, what a wonderful job they had. And right then, as a first grader, I determined I was going to become a teacher. At age 17, I went to BYU and went into elementary education, and upon graduation, went right into teaching. And over the years, I've taught young minds, and it's been wonderful to watch them grow and learn, and I feel like it's my way of giving back. I've been honored over the years with a Huntsman Award, Teacher of the Year Award for my school district, the San Juan School District, but I think the biggest reward, the biggest accomplishments come from seeing what my students are doing. I'm now teaching students that are the children of students. I've seen them become lawyers, doctors, nurses, community leaders. It's gratifying when they come back and let me know that I was a part of that and thank me for being their teacher.
Colleen was unable to join us today, but we do congratulate her and San Juan School District for the Exceptional Service and Outreach Award. Please join me in giving her a round of applause.
I wanted to be a surgeon, probably to the disheartenment of my family. Choosing to go into education instead of medicine was probably a little disappointing, but at the same time, I can't imagine myself doing anything else. I am proud of getting to do the job that I do. It is, to me, the most special job that I get to do. I get to make impacts on hundreds of students every year. I think most music teachers will agree when I say, we're making music ensembles, we're making students, we're making musicians, we're also making little cults within our classroom because kids love it. Kids love being a part of the culture. I am so proud of getting to create that environment and create a place where kids can be themselves. They don't have to be afraid of being the band geek or the orchestra kid or the choir geek. They don't have to be afraid of that. They wear that with such pride and with such emotion attached to it that when they talk about being involved in music, it's the same as any kid who's proud of being on the basketball team or proud of being on the football team, that they get to represent something with their friends that's bigger than just the individual.
Join me in welcoming this year's Music and Arts Teacher of the Year, Garrett Spalka of John F. Kennedy Junior High School.
I decided to teach school while I was in the mission field, and I love teaching people, so at that point in time I decided to teach, and I thought, well, it's obvious I'm going to teach history because was my favorite subject in high school. And I sat down with my mission president on our final interview and told him my plans, and he looked at me and shook his head and he said, no. He said, if you're going to teach, you need to teach math or science. That's where all the jobs are. He had been the academic vice president at BYU, so I figured he probably knew what he was talking about. So that's what headed me towards science. For me, the biggest and what brings me the most joy in teaching, and I went into education because I wanted to make a difference. I enjoy interacting with the kids. People tell me, they say, well, how can you deal with those kids? And I said, that's what I love. I love science because I love the thinking and the thought process for kids and discovering new things. And I love it when kids challenge me. To me, that's what science is all about. I had a group of physics students a few years ago that they didn't want to just get good grades, they wanted to learn, and they pushed me. And I absolutely loved every minute of it because I like the challenge.
We would like to welcome back to the stage Kathy Garf of the Robert H. and Catherine B. Garf Foundation to introduce our Lifetime Achievement winners.
I would like to invite Chad Staley, the first 2023 Lifetime Achievement winner from North Summit School District. Science teacher, Chad Staley.
I would like to thank the committee for this honor, and I truly feel it is an honor. I have the wonderful opportunity of teaching in a community school. I'm so grateful for the members of the communities of Northern Summit County. They're involved in our school in a very, very positive way, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm also grateful for our superintendent, Mr. Jerry Holmes, and our principal, Mr. Devin Smith. I can tell you right now, the decisions that are made in our school district are based on what's best for kids, and what a great place to teach. So again, I would like to thank you for this honor, and most of all, I would like to thank my wife. Literally, I would not be here if it were not for her. Thank her for her support. Thank you.
I do a lot of art in my class, and I've always been an artist. I create spaces where they can explore and problem solve and figure out the things they need to know for lifelong skills. Creativity, I think, is lost a lot in education, and that's been my goal for 28 years, is to keep that creativity and that artful thinking. When I've had parents or kids tell me, you know, they love school and they haven't loved school before, and I'm like, how do you not have that every single year? I've just always incorporated that creativity and artful way of thinking in everything I do. When you create spaces for art to happen, that is when math and reading and science all comes together and makes it stronger. And I feel we don't give enough of that say to the arts in teaching. Yes, we loved art as kids, and I'll talk to many principals, oh, I remember doing art and that, but we don't stand up for it and make the space that we need to have art.
And to our final educator of the evening, please welcome Lifetime Achievement, wherever you are. Lifetime Achievement winner, Jen Terry from Liberty Hills Elementary. Congratulations.
Thank you. This is a great opportunity. Thank you, First Lady and Governor Cox. I'm here today because of a wonderful parent, Megan, and I'm here because of my kids. I love kids. I love the little ones, and I love when they do grow up into those humans, those beautiful humans, and what we need to have, the creative, artful kids. And I'm thankful for the state of Utah. I've been in teaching for 28 years, and I am thankful for having that opportunity to teach the creativity and the arts, and that's what I hope to continue to keep doing, is showing how important that is. So thanks so much for this opportunity.
Thank you to all of our amazing teachers out there who have been so impactful to the community. Now for our final remarks, we'd like to welcome to the stage Governor Spencer J. Cox.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is so wonderful to be here with you tonight. What a brilliant evening this has been. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. as we've been able to pay tribute to some of the most remarkable human beings in our state. Congratulations to all of the winners. Burke, thank you to you and to your team. This is a wonderful experience that Deseret News has put together for us and your entire management team. We're so honored to be here. Kathy, to you and your family and your amazing team, thank you. To all the sponsors who care so deeply and are willing to give back. We do live in a very remarkable and special place. And I hope that despite all of our problems at times, we will take time to appreciate how wonderful this state and this community is, the generosity that we see. I always brag about us, our state leading the nation in volunteerism and leading the nation in charitable giving. And you see there really is this, it's an ecosystem, this culture that we have of giving back and trying to make our state a better place. It's why so many of you have gone into education, because you care and you want to give back. I know most of you did go into it for the money and the fame, but there's so much more to life, and you understand that uniquely. And obviously, there does need to be more money, and we're working on that. I promise. But all of you could be doing other things and making more somewhere else, but you've chosen this pathway, and tonight we honor you. Now, a few of you had an opportunity to hear me yesterday when I shared a story of one of my life-changing teachers. His name is Roy Ellefson, and Roy, in a small town in Sanpete County, North Sanpete High School, located in Mount Pleasant, Utah. Roy was a person who should not have been there. He was far too qualified to be teaching at a high school, let alone a high school that small and in such a remote place. And yet he, for whatever reason, just cared about us and cared about kids and never wanted to leave. He should have been teaching at Harvard. He was certainly qualified to do so, but he chose us, and I'm forever grateful that he chose us. He was the English teacher. He taught humanities, which had never been offered, but he was the only person qualified to ever teach it at our high school, and so he did. And he later taught French, and he opened up a world to a bunch of farm kids who would never get to see the world, at least never thought we would get to see the world. And he inspired us and he changed us. And I remember my sophomore year, the choir teacher retired, the concert choir teacher. And so they asked him if he would be willing to teach choir. And of course he did, because that's what you do. You wear so many hats. And not only did he teach it, but he taught it brilliantly. And he was so talented, and he just brought out the best in us. He saw something in us that we didn't see in ourselves, and so we sang our hearts out for Roy. And I remember we qualified for state, and we went to the state competition. And if you've seen the movie Hoosiers, we were the choir nerds, by the way, but it's a lot like Hoosiers. It was just like the sports thing. We show up to this giant choir competition. It wasn't just 3A schools. It was the best choirs from all categories in the state. And I remember we walked into that auditorium and we looked around, and just like in Hoosiers, we didn't feel like we belonged there, right? And he didn't get out a tape measure and measure the rims or the stage or anything like that. But what he did was we looked around and we saw all the other teams, all the choirs. They were huge, 100 members, and they all had matching tuxedos and matching dresses. And we were in our Sunday best, which meant a lot of Levi's and white shirts and some ragtag ties, and just we didn't match at all. And there were only 40 of us. He was able to cobble together 10 tenors and 10 basses and 10 sopranos and 10 altos, and that was us. And he could tell we knew we didn't belong, and he just said to us, he said, "Don't look at them. Remember, just look at me. This is no different than being right back at the high school. If you look at me, you know this stuff. We can do this." And he was right. And so we looked at him, and we were the best choir at the state competition that year, which was impossible and remarkable and amazing because he believed in us. And I'm so grateful for that world that he opened for me. To finish a couple parts of that story, we all wanted to be like like Roy. My brother especially, and he did. He took Roy's place at North Sanpete High School when he retired, and then just today I had lunch with Roy. Sadly, Father Time is robbing him of some of his most important faculties, as happens with age. And I heard lots of stories multiple times at lunch today, and that was okay, because he needed that opportunity, and I needed that opportunity with him. And so we go to lunch whenever we can. He is the reason I'm here today. He taught me how to write. He taught me how to write a 5-paragraph essay that carried me through law school. He taught me how to love reading and to love history and to love art, and to see that there's so much more in this world than that small farm in Fairview. And I'm grateful for those things, because I would not be here without him. And we have some cultural problems in our country today, and our state is not immune to those issues. We have taken for granted, I think, for a long time, the ability that we have to come together, to rally together as a state, to set aside our differences and see our better angels in each other. And as the broad culture tells us that we need to divide ourselves, that it's us against them, that we need to hate them because they're going to destroy us. Whatever side of that argument that you find yourself on, I believe that education can solve those things. Education can help us remember the history of this incredible country, the greatest country in the history of the world, that was founded on profound idea. And that here in our state, we know that politics is downstream of culture. And if we want to change politics, we have to change our culture. And politicians should help with that. Sadly, politicians have figured out how to use that fear and divisiveness to gain power over all of us. And the media far too often does that as well. Not Deseret News. We, the people who hold that power, again, that was the foundational idea, right? That we're created equal and we're endowed with these unalienable rights from on high, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That radical idea that changed the history of the world, that is still a profound and radical idea, and one we need to remember. And it brought a whole bunch of people who were really different together, and they formed a government. And again, a government that could unify us in spite of, or even because of, our differences, and that we could not just coexist, but that we could thrive. And so I need to stop talking, but I just want to say this. What we're doing tonight is how we change culture. What happened yesterday, and I'm so grateful for my amazing wife, whose shoes I can't fill tonight, and her team, and everyone who worked so hard, all of the sponsors, because what you're doing yesterday wasn't just honoring teachers. That honestly wasn't the point of yesterday. That was part of it, and a really important part of it. But what was more important about yesterday is changing culture. It's reminding all of us of the teachers in our lives that changed us and made us who we are, and helping us to remember that there is nothing more important than education. Education is the great equalizer. Education is the thing that can take a kid from a farm in Fairview and give him an opportunity to be on a stage like this in front of you. Education is the thing that creates the arts, the beautiful things that we heard about, the ideas, the innovation that are going to solve the biggest problems we are facing as a country and as a world. Government doesn't do all that, although we're expecting it to. We do that. We, the people, do that. The kids that you are teaching now are going to solve climate change, not government. They're going to solve the immigration crisis, not government. You are building And we need more builders. We desperately need more builders. At a time when we are rewarding destroyers, God bless the builders. Thank you for building. Keep up the good work. And please know we love you.
Thank you, Governor Cox. And I just wanted to add myself, as someone who has worked for an early education not-for-profit organization for the past 5 years, I've been able to meet so many teachers and educators all across the state who are making such a difference. And I don't think I even need to say this. We've heard every single person that's come to this podium to speak today talk about a teacher that's made a difference in their lives. You may never know the impact that you've made. You may never have someone come to your classroom and say, you made a difference in my life and this is how. But I can assure you, your impact is great. So thank you for all that you do. Let's give yourselves a hand. And we could not have done this night tonight without the generous support of businesses across Utah. A final thank you to the companies who donated tables tonight for more teachers so that more of you could join us for the event. Those businesses include America First Credit Union, Cypress Credit Union, Forvis, Gab Wireless, Mountain Star Health, Salt Lake Board of Realtors, Security National, Select Health, and University of Utah College of Education. Let's give them a hand. Now, as an attendee today, Utah Business is offering a complimentary one-year subscription to their monthly publication. You're going to find a QR code in the center of each of your tables. That's going to allow you to take advantage of that special offer. And as a reminder, your parking is paid for, so if you didn't get a voucher when you checked in, make sure that you go get one from the Utah Business staff members at the registration table. And we also like to do our part in recycling, so if you would, please leave that name badge of yours on the table or at the registration table. And one final note, someone lost their silver cell phone tonight. I feel for them. We are also connected to our cell phones. If you happen to find a cell phone, please make sure you drop that off at the registration table. That person will thank you. All right, thanks so much for joining us. And again, congratulations to the 2023 honorees of education and honors. Thank you.